Romans 28, the transformation. Luck endured yet another restless night, waking up repeatedly to the voices playing manipulative mind games. These recurring themes included discussions about evil twins, past loves, hypnosis, and the ongoing legal battle narrative. The following day, Luck returned to consuming only the supplies they already had in the property. The property owner visited to inquire if Luck needed anything, and Luck requested only some bread and fruit, which the owner provided later in the day. As evening fell, the voices persisted, consistently shifting through various phases. A new narrative began to emerge, one of global warfare triggered by the revelation of the world's secrets. The conflict revolved around the existence of individuals with the ability to virtually manipulate and control others. Luck pondered the potential consequences, realizing that those with weaker mental fortitude might be more susceptible to manipulation. However, Luck's own understanding of their capabilities remained incomplete, a mystery to be unraveled later. The narrative of the world's revelation of the whole truth played out in Luck's mind, but it felt implausible due to the illogical elements and the omission of crucial details. Luck had gained insights from their previous experiences and could discern the weaknesses in this fabricated narrative. They had learned much from their fallibility to this point. It was early in the night when the subsequent incident of interest happened. Luck was unable to sleep due to the various voices. With them continuously running through their mind, they would eventually get up and return to the garden chair to gaze into the night sky, wondering why all of this was happening to them. As they sat, Luck continued to hear the voices narrating the global world war narrative with a sense of impending doom as a nuclear bomb was supposedly about to strike their motherland. The voices in their head asked what they were going to do, and after a moment of silence, a trusted internal voice asked if they were ready. Luck replied internally, instinctively, "I'm your vessel." Moments later, Luck felt a rush of air brushing over them, followed by a tingling sensation that started at their feet and spread throughout their body, causing them to shake physically. After a few minutes, the shaking subsided, but Luck was left in a heightened state, both physically and mentally, unlike anything they had experienced before. Luck only remembers a few of the voices and conversations they had during this time, mainly focused on what was happening with their body in the real world. After a while, the external voices began to murmur that Luck's equilibrium had been disrupted, a term they had never spoken or knew much about scientifically until this point. During this time, a flurry of other voices came through, but the most notable one that appeared to fix their apparent equilibrium was a being that identified as Alon. Luck had never met Alon, but they had respect for them within the real world due to their well-known public achievements and future goals. Alon reaffirmed this in their own words. Alon spoke to Luck in a calming tone, instructing them to breathe deeply and focus on their voice. Within a few moments, Luck felt their heightened state slowly starting to recede. They experienced a sharp shooting sensation down through their body, and soon they were back to their previous condition, if not feeling better. They felt more tired than before and had a strong desire to go back to resting. Luck eventually stood up and walked back into the property, returning to their bed. For the first time since the start of the new year, they managed to sleep through until the early morning. However, the ongoing experience with the voices and visions persisted. It was only the second time in our life that we felt something physically changed within us, the other being the drive to the airport near the start of this story. In reality, it could be any being. We only used the name they identified as. Airdrop, Roman 29, Walk Don't Steal. Luck awoke that morning to the voice identifying as Alon. The narrative of the nuclear bomb detonated in their motherland the previous night continued. Alon informed Luck that many on the island were panicking and trying to leave while they still had the apparent opportunity to do so. Luck, in a delirious state, stood up and walked through the property while the commentary continued in their mind. They were informed that this individual was above them, waiting for Luck to escape with them. The person was concerned for their own well-being, being in the area that Luck had decided to stay, and claimed that the others had apparently left without them. Alon asked Luck to try and come upstairs so they could confirm their identity and create an escape plan. In response, Luck walked into the garden and approached the back gate, which was locked as usual, before sitting in their chair for a few minutes, contemplating their next move. After a few moments, Alon would reinitiate a conversation with Luck, outlining an escape plan to Luck, explaining that there was a vehicle parked in front of the property with the keys left under the bonnet. Alon instructed Luck to steal the vehicle, after which they would join Luck in the passenger seat. Together, they would drive to a nearby port and find a sea vessel to leave the island. These instructions would be repeated through Luck's mind for several minutes before they decided to get changed into more suitable attire and to investigate their surroundings more thoroughly. Luck got changed, proceeded to lock their door, and exited the premises. Throughout, the voice was relying on Luck to steal the vehicle. On exiting the property, the voice would heighten as though it thought Luck was about to perform the task. Luck, however, is not a thief. They made a conscious decision not to steal the vehicle as instructed by the voice. Instead, they turned left and walked past the vehicle, choosing to explore an area of the road they had not been before. As they reached the end of the road, a dead end, they met a group of locals who were out enjoying a group lunch. Luck approached the individuals and had a small conversation with them, enjoying their company for several minutes before declaring that they would walk down to the beach. During this time, there were voices in Luck's mind which were suggesting these individuals were, in fact, local law enforcers. However, Luck did not initiate a conversation around this, rather just asking one to roll for them. Luck left the gathering area, crossing the grassy terrain to reach the main road that led them to the beach. During this journey, the new voice, one they hadn't heard internally before, guided them and ensured they followed the correct path. The voice of Akeley. Luck arrived at the cross junction, which posed a particular challenge due to the steep hill leading to the beach road. They carefully crossed and descended the numerous steps, eventually reaching an area they often visited, where local supply stores were located. Luck continued along the road, passing the area, and headed to a public beach that lacked facilities with no nearby hotels. This beach was typically deserted due to its lack of amenities, and today was no different. Only a handful of people were exercising on or near the beach. Luck found a step to sit on and gazed out into the sea. As Luck sat there, a new, more angelic and prominent voice entered their mind. This voice began by recapping the recent narratives that Luck had experienced. It then went on to explain that Luck's evil twin was on a boat with their apparent father, Warren, and Luck's last love, whom the twin had severely abused to this point. The angelic voice asked Luck a series of questions, inquiring whether they wanted to be collected from the island and how they planned to leave. Finally, the voice asked for Luck's thoughts on what should be done with their evil twin. Luck shrugged off the idea of leaving the island and offered a simple response to the question about their evil twin, death. Afterwards, Luck stood up from the step and retraced their steps back to the property they were currently staying at. They made a brief stop to purchase a drink and then began to ascend a steep hill. During this climb, various voices returned, with many of them commenting and mocking whether Luck would make it to the top. Jack, in particular, didn't think they would succeed. Luck, however, continued to walk all the way back, taking the correct turning that avoided encountering the locals they had initially stopped with at the beginning of the journey. Upon reaching the property, they sat in the garden, cooling down and reanalyzing the experience they had just had. Alon was no longer communicating with Luck. This is the first time that we truly validated voices that could not have come from close proximity. This, to us, suggests that those who can communicate using this power can do so over long distances. We cannot validate this truth, as we do not understand it fully, even to this day. We simply know it's possible, and the world has many evil forces, dread or alive, XXX, smoking wizards and witches. Eventually, Luck unlocked their door and entered the property, carefully inspecting their surroundings to ensure everything was as they had left it. The voices through this time would be persistent. They were now, however, moving away from the war and escaping the island narratives. Their new direction was one of pure torment, seemingly aimed at driving Luck to madness. However, Luck had developed a technique to detach their consciousness, let's call it soul, from their own body, allowing these torturous moments to pass without causing lasting harm to their memories or mental state. Several days passed with Luck confined to the property, enduring various narratives and mental torment. As their supplies dwindled, Luck realized they needed to venture to the supply store. With about a week left in their booking for the property, they only needed enough to last this remaining period. Luck contacted Akeley to arrange for transportation to the store. While gathering their usual supplies at the store, Luck couldn't help but notice several suspicious individuals around them. Some of these individuals seemed to be communicating with others using electronic devices, discussing Luck's purchases and their overall state. One of them even muttered a cryptic phrase to Luck, asking, "Are you sure about this?" After purchasing their supplies and leaving the store, Luck returned to Akeley, who was waiting to take them back to their rental property. Upon entering the property and unpacking their goods, Luck noticed an unusual smell. Investigating further, they discovered that there was also smoke emanating from their bathroom. Initially thinking it might be coming from the property owner and entering through a window in that room, they decided to simply shut the door and not investigate further. Luck laid down on the sofa, watching some entertainment on their device before eventually nodding off to sleep. Several hours later, they awoke to find the room filled with smoke, making them feel intoxicated. In a state of panic, they immediately contacted the property owner to inform them of the situation. Luck chose not to open the bathroom door and instead quickly left the property. They sat back down on their chair in the garden. Shortly after, the property owner and their child, the local religious leader, arrived and proceeded to clean out the property. They removed an item, which was partially concealed in a bag. They did not query Luck about the source or cause of the smoke. Luck expressed their acknowledgement to the property owner, but at this point, they weren't feeling like themselves. They had been poisoned through the air they had breathed in. After spending about an hour in the garden and ensuring the smoke had cleared from the property, Luck stumbled back inside and retreated to their bed. During this time, the voices escalated, exploiting Luck's weakened physical state and tormenting them with screams. However, Luck managed to detach from these voices and eventually slept off the effects of the intoxicants to some extent. The lingering smell made them wonder whether it was also being blown in through their bedroom windows. The next days were very much a blur. Luck knew they were in a very corrupt environment. However, physically was not in a state to relocate. They did not blame the property owner, knowing it was out of their control. Luck would experience many new voices and narratives again during this time. They, however, do have two vivid memories. The next few days were a blur for Luck. They were aware of being in a highly corrupted environment, but their physical condition didn't allow them to relocate. Luck didn't blame the property owner, as they understood it was beyond their control. During this time, Luck encountered many new voices and narratives, but there were two vivid memories that stood out. One of the vivid memories Luck had was the appearance of some famous entertainment witches and wizards. They identified themselves using their entertainment names, with Luck echoing their real names, including Emma and Daniel. There was one they didn't recognize, and it wasn't Rupert. These individuals stayed with Luck for around a day, seemingly amused by their situation, even though they didn't fully comprehend it. Another vivid memory during this time was the reappearance of their queen, but the voice was different. It wasn't the real, just a manipulative narrative created to make Luck believe it was. This narrative was disturbing and unrealistic, with the voice describing their queen being on the property and taking the coward's way out multiple times. It was as if Luck was witness of murder. Once Luck had fully regained their senses, they decided it was best to leave the property. It was only a few days earlier than their originally scheduled departure, but they wanted to find a safer, less corrupt environment. They decided to book a beach resort for a night before returning to their previous rental property for a week, and eventually, they would fly back to their motherland. They had stopped working long before this point, but they had enough saved currency to afford these changes in plans. We should probably also mention the torture relating to pedophilia. As we shut our eyes, what did we see? We are not the ones who are unwell in this story. You hide, we do not. We are only honest and answer all morality questions. The wrong side of heaven, but the righteous side of hell.